Gaurish, to everybody here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so I would like to request those devotees which are doing the recitation to prepare themselves and to start. I'm just going to figure out this thing. I'll share the screen with you. I hope you can see it now. So these are the Sanskrit verses, and
Yes, we can see.
yes, the devotees who are doing the recitation can start. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I'm reading the Sanskrit today, but I presume we are reading from verse 20 onwards.
Yes,
21.
because we divided the sessions into two, so we could do from 20 onwards today.
From 20 onwards. Okay, so let me go to that verse. 20. 19 and 20. Here we go.
Okay. I will start now. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Verse 20. Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Vidhi Anadi Upavapi Vikramscha Gunamschaiva Vidhi Prakriti Sambhavan.
Material nature and the living entities. Material nature and the living entities should be understood to be beginningless. Their transformations and the modes of matter are products of material nature.
Verse 21. Karyakaran krutatve hetuhu prakruti ruchayate purusha sukhada dukhanam bhoktutva hetu uchyate.
Nature is said to be the cause of all material causes and effects, whereas the living entity is the cause of various sufferings and enjoyments in this world.
Verse 22. Purusha prakriti stohi punakte prakriti jan gunam karanam guna sango syasad asad yoni janmashu.
The living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus he meets with good and evil amongst various species.
Verse 23. Upadreshtanumanta cha bharata bhokta maheshwara paramatmati chapi okto dehesmin purusha paraha.
Yet in this body there is another, a transcendental enjoyer, who is the Lord, the supreme proprietor, who exists as the overseer and permitter, and who is known as the Supersoul.
Verse 24. Ye evam veti purusham prakrutim cha gunem sa sarvatha varthamanopi na sa bhuyo bhijayate.
One who understands this philosophy concerning material nature, the living entity, and the interaction of the modes of nature is sure to attain liberation. He will not take birth here again, regardless of his present position.
Verse 25. Dhyane natmani pashyanti kechidatman matmana anya sankhyena yogena karma yogena chapare.
Some perceive the Supersoul within themselves through meditation, others through the cultivation of knowledge, and still others through working without fruitive desires.
Verse 26. Anyatve evam ajananta shrutuvanayebhya upasate tepi chetarante eva mrityum shruti parayanaha.
Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death.
Yavat sanjayate kinchit sattvam stavarajangamam kshetragya samoyogat tatvidhi bharatarshavaha.
O chief of the Bharatas, know that whatever you see in existence, both the moving and the non-moving, is only a combination of the field of activities and the knower of the field.
Verse 28. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtan parmeshwaram vinashyatsva avinashyam tam ya pashyati sa pashyati.
One who sees the supersoul accompanying the individual soul in all bodies, and who understands that neither the soul nor the supersoul within the destructible body is ever destroyed, actually sees.
Verse 29. Samam pashyam hi sarvartha samavashitam ishwaram nahi nashte atmanatmanam tato yati param gatim.
One who sees the supersoul equally present everywhere, in every living being, does not degrade himself by his mind. Thus he approaches the transcendental destination.
Verse 30. Prakriteva cha karmani kriyamanani sarvasha ya pashyati tathatmanam akartaram sa pashyati.
One who can see that all activities are performed by the body, which is created of material nature, and sees that the self does nothing, actually sees.
Verse 31. Yada bhuta prathak bhuvam ekastam anupashyati tatha eva cha vistaram brahma sampadyate tada.
When a sensible man ceases to see different identities due to his different material bodies, and he sees how things are expanded everywhere, he attains to the Brahman conception.
Verse 32. Anaditvam nirgunatvat paramatmayam avyaya sharirostepi konteya na karoti na lipyati.
Those with a vision of eternity can see that the imperishable soul is transcendental, eternal, and beyond the modes of nature. Despite contact with the material body, O Arjuna, the soul neither does anything nor is entangled.
Verse 33. Yatha sarvagatam soksham yad akasham no palipayate sarvatra vashito dehe tathatma no palipayate.
The sky, due to its subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although it is all-pervading. Similarly, the soul, situated in Brahman vision, does not mix with the body, though situated in that body.
Yatha prakashayate eka krishnam lokam imam ravihi kshetram kshetra tatha krishnam prakashyati bharata.
O son of Bharata, as the sun alone illuminates all this universe, So does the living entity, one within the body, illuminate the entire body by consciousness.
Verse 35. Kshetra kshetrajnyor evam anantaram jnana chakshusha bhuta prakriti moksham cha ye viduryanti te param.
Those who see with eyes of knowledge the difference between the body and the knower of the body, and can also understand the process of liberation from bondage in material nature, attain to the supreme goal.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to read.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna, thank you so much. Thank you for the recitation. So, thank you again to all of you for coming today. I know it's slightly earlier than you used to. I think, from 7:30 to 8:30. But I ask Divyanam Prabhu and the devotees which are organizing this Sangha to kind of do it slightly earlier. And the reason is that um, I'm waking up really early and for waking up the deities here in the mana. And I just need to go and take rest early. Otherwise, my next day will be I'll be just all over the place. So thank you again for adjusting this time for me. And Hare Krishna. So today we're going to be reading from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, verse 29. And yeah, so I'm going to recite the Sanskrit and translation. The purport is fairly short, and let's see if we can draw some lessons in terms of connection with book distribution or with Sankirtan. So, verse 29. Samam pashyan hi sarvatra samavastitam ishvaram nahi nasti atmanatmanam tato yati param gatim. Translation. One who sees the Supersoul equally present everywhere, in every living being, does not degrade himself by his mind. Thus, he approaches the transcendental destination. Purport. The living entity, by accepting his material existence, has become situated differently than in his spiritual existence. But if one understands that the Supreme is situated in his Paramatma manifestation everywhere, that is, if one can see the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in every living thing, he does not degrade himself by destructive mentality, and he therefore gradually advances to the spiritual world. The mind is generally addicted to sense gratifying process, but when the mind turns to the supersoul, one becomes advanced in spiritual understanding. Srila Prabhupada ki, Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki, Jai. Hare Krishna. The first thing which kind of came to my mind when I was reading this verse is when we go on book distributions, let's say when we do door to door or on the streets book distribution, um, it's interesting that we actually take people sometimes very seriously. Obviously, we distribute the books, but for those who've been, let's say, distributing books or have some experiences with book distribution, the rejection is actually very painful. And I can tell you one thing: my first experience in book distribution was with His Holiness Dayananda Maharaj, and I was in the Bhaktivedanta Mana for 3 months. And not even that, actually. I was there for like 2.5 months. And I've just finished my Bhakta course. And they asked me to go and travel with Dayananda Maharaj and kind of serve him. He went to Manchester. We basically went up to North. And Maharaj one day was like, okay, Bhakta Adam, let's go outside. Let's do a bit of book distribution. This was during the winter marathon. I think this was 2016. 2016, yeah. And he's like, okay, come. And I was completely not ready, like not ready mentally nor physically. I had only dhotis. I had no long johns. I had no warm cloth. I have no good shoes. I have only these kind of a summer sneakers, like these kind of a very, very thin, very, and I was proper cold, big time. I was very cold. And I remember we've been in Sheffield, and with my individual kind of a mentality, I just went outside like, I got this, you know. I studied for 2 months, the Bhakta course, and I finished with the certificate that I done the Bhakta course successfully. I was like, I got this, you know. So I grabbed my Bhagavad Gita's, I grabbed Vedas and, Higher Taste, Channel Be Happy, and the regular. And I just went on my own, kind of, I separate myself from Maharaj. I was like, okay, I'm going to be distributing books. And obviously, book distribution requires a lot of resilience, like big time. And I didn't have that. I didn't have that resilience. I was very much on a mental platform. And what was happening is rejection after rejection after rejection after rejection. I become, as we say, mental. I just become like, no, why am I even doing this to myself? Like, I just want to be happy. I want to be warmth in the Bhaktivedanta manner. I want to have a nice time with devotees. I want to sit in the kirtan. I want to observe the deities. I want to own a charanamrita. Where's my warm prasadam? These sort of things. So I went completely mental. And it was interesting how the rejection of other people, how the neophyte mentality of a person can actually churn a lot of things within our mind. So exactly, this is actually very good advice, very good verse as advice for Sankirtan devotees. It says, one who sees super soul equally present everywhere, in every living being, does not degrade himself by his mind. So I didn't have the vision. I didn't have the vision that there's a super soul everywhere, that actually every individual entity has a super soul, Krishna within them. And ultimately, only all the activities are sanctioned by Krishna, by the super in the soul, in the form of a super soul. So whatever rejection I receive, it was ordained by the Lord. And I didn't know that. I didn't have the vision. I didn't have nothing, no meditation, just I will do it. And it went like this for 2-3 days, basically every single day rejection. And even if someone stops, because I was wearing dhoti and stuff like that, it was showing some kind of a exotic maybe philosophy or something, like maybe someone is monk or whatever. So even if I have discussions and people stop, I was, kind of a young, naive. And even if people start kind of a discussion with me, I didn't really have a good grasp on the philosophy. So I couldn't properly defend myself. And I couldn't properly present the philosophy. So again, more and more the mind was just giving me troubles like, you're worthless, you don't know what to do. Most likely Prabhupada doesn't like you, Krishna doesn't like you because he doesn't help you. And all these kind of thoughts of, they've been consuming me very much. And the reason was because I didn't have the vision. The reason was that actually, if we run on the wave of kind of a initial enthusiasm, that wave will go sooner or later. But what will last is knowledge. What would last is chakshush or vision. So this chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is actually describing nature, enjoy, and consciousness. So when you distribute books, you actually need this consciousness. You need to be Krishna conscious. You need to be Prabhupada conscious. You need to be Bhagavad Gita conscious. And you need to be Paramatma conscious, in the sense that you have to see the Paramatma within the heart of everyone. If you don't see this, you will suffer. Simple as that. So Prabhupada says, the first line, he says, the living entity, by accepting his material existence, has become situated differently than in his spiritual existence. So what it means that when you go outside and you preach to someone, or in whatever aspect of your life, it means that you have to situate yourself on a spiritual level, on the spiritual life, on the spiritual platform. And why is that? Because if you don't do that, if you don't situate yourself properly, how can you preach? How can you have a spiritual life if you're not situated in a right consciousness? Otherwise, everything will be difficulty after difficulty. So here Prabhupada stresses that if one can see the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in every living thing, he does not degrade himself by destructive mentality. we've seen in the past and we will see in the future, and we will see even now it's happening, that devotees have difficulties. Not only on Sankirtan, they could be personal difficulties, but devotees and people in general have difficulties and they have troubles. Most of the time, these troubles are coming from the platform of the mind. So let me explain that. The mind was operating for millions and millions of lifetimes on the platform of Ahamameti, my and I. But that Ahamameti was situated only on the material level. This is my body, my house, my life, my car, my country, my culture, my ethnicity, my gender, my viewpoints, my political view, anything, aham mameti, I and mine. So if your mind operates for such a long period of time, what happens? There's a Sanskrit term for it, it's called samskara. Samskara means like a subtle imprint. So these subtle imprints, they stay within our minds for a very, very long time. But then what happens by the process of Krishna consciousness, simply by chanting Hare Krishna, these samskaras, material samskaras will be devoured by the holy name and they start evaporating. So it means that you have to not only let things go, but also accept things. So this chakshus and this vision, which is mentioned in this specific verse, is very important. And on Sankirtan, things can change very quickly, right? You can have the best of days. You can be on top of everything. You can distribute Gita after Gita, Bhagavatam after Bhagavatam. You can get contact after contact. But the moment you start thinking that I am the doer, I am the person, I am the top man, I'm the top woman, I'm the best distributor in the history of Sankirtan, Krishna's like, okay, not anymore. And he can very easily kind of make you very small and very insignificant. So let me tell you one pastime from my Sankirtan experiences. We've been in Nottingham. I think this was 2018 winter marathon, and it was myself and Shesha Prabhu, my god brother, who now recently changed ashram and he lives outside now. And we've been still brahmacharis traveling around, and I made a contact with my now spiritual master. His name is Kadamba Maharaj, and before the marathon, I asked him for blessings, for guidance, and permission to try to somehow serve the mission. And he was very happy, and he kind of gave this. He said, like, whenever you feel down, you can just drop me a call, a message, and I'll try my best to kind of be there for you. So Nottingham, very runny. It was kind of snowy a bit, very cold, very chilly. People been running all the time, and one point there was this really long period that things were difficult, right? Books were not going out, and it was not really working out for me. So my consciousness was really, really low. So what I did is I dropped a message to Maharaj. I was like, Maharaj, it's difficult, it's tough, it's not really going well. My mind is giving me a lot of troubles. And in terms of approaching people, I was not really, my mind was not really there. I was just focusing on the negative part. And then Maharaj just responded very simply, very quickly, and in just a few minutes, he wrote me a big message saying that how you should just chill out for a moment, go off the street, chant around, read the verses from Bhagavad Gita, meditate on Prabhupada, take a prasadam, and then he kind of gave me reassurance that I have all of his blessings in this service. And this small interaction with spiritual master kind of change everything. The whole mood changes. And this is the interesting part. Nottingham hasn't changed. The street itself hasn't changed. The people, still karmi people running around, that hasn't changed. The shop's been still open, that hasn't changed. It was still snowy and still cold, that hasn't changed. I still had the same shoes, I still had the same coat, same hat, same gloves, that hasn't changed. One thing that changed was my mindset, my kind of my consciousness. And that thing changed everything. You see, sometimes we cannot change the externals, but what we can change is the internal. And by changing the internal, you change everything else. All your views will change in such a quick way that somehow or another, that street will be different. That street of Nottingham, that cold street, those cold people, everything will be different. So in this way, I started approaching people, and I was much more happier. I was much more content. I was meditating on the blessings of my spiritual master, on the mission of Srila Prabhupada. And I was trying to meditate that I was in the shoes of these people many years ago, right? I was not blessed by the books of Srila Prabhupada. I was not blessed by having association of Vaishnavas. I was not blessed by honoring Prasadam. And I felt to myself, these people are bereft of the association of His Divine Grace. These people are bereft of the association of Krishna. And I'm so lucky that years ago, devotees actually deemed me a mercy case and somehow gave me something, gave me their attention. Prabhupada's Books Association, they gave me beats, they chant with me, they explained me the philosophy. And what I thought to myself is, how can I do the same thing for others? How can I actually help others to be also blessed by the best, right? How others may be blessed by Srila Prabhupada and by Krishna consciousness. So what I try to say is just like this verse is saying that your mind can either degrade you, put you down, or your mind can actually uplift you. So the upliftment part, according to this verse, is based on the vision. And one of the meditations could be that there is a super soul, there's this person who sanctions all the activities within the heart of all the living entities. Someone who says yes and someone who says no. And that someone is Krishna in his form as Paramatma. So whatever happens in your life, if it's a rejection or if it's yes or if it's no, you can rest assured there's Krishna behind that. And how this changed everything is that you can actually accept yes and no in a much more lighter way. You can be tranquil because you know that behind that yes and no, there's Krishna. Behind that nasty words of other people, there's Krishna. Behind that glorifications of other people, there's Krishna. Behind that, yes, someone will take a book, is Krishna. Behind that, no, I'm not going to take a book, there's Krishna. But by just you being there on the street, let's just you wearing a tilak or you being in a Krishna conscious mood, you purifying the whole place because you engaging yourself in the Kali Yuga, in the process of the Kali Yuga, which is Harinam Sankirtan. So the moment you step on the street, you can rest assured that already you're a successful person. Already you are successful. But the one problem, one obstacle we have, that is the mind. That's the only obstacle we have, just the mind. Mind is the only difficulty which kind of deviates us from really absorbing ourselves in Krishna consciousness. It's just the mind. So sometimes, and I think all of us can relate to it, that mind is giving us different impulses, right? You're not good enough. You're not worthy. Look at this thought. Look at the way you think. Look at the way how disgusting you are. Look how you look at that person. Look how lusty you are. And all these negative things, right? And on the other hand as well, look how cool you are. Look how wonderfully you look. Look at the new hairstyle we have, the new cloth you buy, just you look fabulous. So both sat asat, good and bad, is actually coming from the platform of the mind. But what happens is we have to situate ourselves on the intelligence level. And I've been recently meditating on this a lot. And maybe I'd like to speak about it a lot because intelligence is something you obtain from studying Prabhupada's books. And it's not random intelligence. It's not like material intelligence, but it's spiritual intelligence. So these books, Prabhupada's verses, they speak about how to obtain spiritual vision, spiritual intelligence, how not to be disturbed amongst sat asat, good and bad, right? Someone comes to you and glorifies you. You're such a wonderful person. Well, you can say, well, I mean, I feel like I'm sorry for you because you haven't seen that before. Now you're telling me I'm a wonderful person. When was the last time, you tell me this? Or the mind can say, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm very bad, this and that. One thing is for sure, what you can say is, whatever I have, whatever abilities I possess, is thanks to the mercy of Prabhupada, thanks to the mercy of Guru, thanks to the mercy of the Vaishnavas. And in this way, what you do, that sat asat, whatever comes to your way, you actually purify it by offering it to spiritual master. So I mentioned before in the class that all of us, we are ready to be successful, right? You are ready to go first time on Sankirtan, just, hit the street, and you are ready to distribute 50 books. You're ready to distribute 100 books. You're ready to stop every single person and give him a book and receive chubby donation. We are ready for that. But let me be honest with you, Sankirtan is a service when you have to be ready to be a failure. You have to be ready to fail for Krishna first time, second time, 100th time, 200 times, 1,000 times. You have to be ready to be a failure. Because if you look at big book distributors, they have some techniques, they have Shakti, but also they're content in rejection. Someone says no to you. Okay, so he said no, but what you can do is, thank you very much. I hope you have a wonderful day, sir. And you never know, maybe next time you're going to grab a book from me. So you have to take no in style. That's what Sutapa Prabhu always says. You have to accept no with the style. Because you have only two options. You're either going to be kind of unhappy, sad, rejection, or you can just, step up and say, no worries, have a lovely day, boss. I hope I see you next time. So everything is in the mind. Everything is in the mind. From the moment we wake up to the point we go to sleep, everything is about the mind. But in a life of a devotee, even higher than the level of the mind is the level of the intelligence. So what happens in the modern days is that our mind many times take over the intelligence. So ever happened to you that, let's say, you haven't felt really right about someone, or you, on the other hand, felt very good about someone? Basically, your emotions, right? You're emotional towards someone, either in a positive or a negative way. And what the intelligence is doing is that intelligence will help you to support your emotional position. Let's say I like you, you're a wonderful person. So what the intelligence will do is like, he's coming on time. He's got very nice presentation. Boom, boom, boom. The intelligence starts to support your emotional views. Same thing with the negativity, with being negative. Oh, I don't like that person. Okay, intelligence, no problem, no problem. I can give you all the necessary information, details to support that statement. Okay, he's bad guy, he's doing like this bad, he doesn't come on time, he doesn't wear clothes like this, whatever it is. So same thing with Sankirtan, book distribution, kind of a mention in this verse, is that the mind is generally addicted to sense gratifying process. But when the mind turns to the super soul, one becomes advanced in spiritual understanding. But when the mind turns to the super soul, and when is that? When the mind will turn into the super soul? When you're going to order it. You will say to your mind, no more sense gratification. No more looking at these sense objects. Super soul. Super soul. Why super soul? The mind may ask, why should I turn into a super soul? Super soul, I mean, have you looked at the shops? Forget about the super soul. Look at that. There's a super sale, right? Christmas are coming, 30% down, 40% down. I need to buy this. I need to do this. Forget the super soul. Look at the super sale. But then the intelligence comes. Then the spiritual intelligence comes. then the spiritual philosophy comes. No, my dear mind, for thousands and millions of years, we've been looking for the top of things of enjoyment which are offered by the material world. Now is the time to change the game. So this is what Prabhupada is indicating. Either it's a sense gratification or it's a spiritual understanding. Either the mind turns into to gratifying the process of gratifying the senses, or spiritual understanding, or spiritual elevation. Okay, so I think I spoke too much. Now we have still some time, but what is even better than talking, and that is questions. So I will open it now for devotees if they have any points, any reflections, any realizations, and anything they would like to ask or share with us now.
Prabhuji,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Can anybody or everybody can control their mind by using their intelligence, or does it depend on their mode of material nature that they are in at that particular time? Because not everybody is the same.
Of course, the Bhagavad Gita was written. Krishna presents Bhagavad Gita for anyone and everyone based on the level of their consciousness. So just like anyone and everyone can grab a piece of metal and chuck it in a fire, and you see that the metal accepts the propensities of the fire, which means it becomes hot and becomes red. So it doesn't matter where you're from, who you are, you can always adjust your situation in such a way that the best form of spiritual intelligence means you're associating with Krishna. You can hear Krishna Katha, you can listen to classes, you can listen to Kirtan, you can read Prabhupada's books, you can cook for the Lord. Whatever abilities you have, you can offer them to Lord. And that way you're spiritualizing your mind, you're spiritualizing your intelligence, you're spiritualizing your senses, you're spiritualizing your activity, and you're spiritualizing the result of those activities or the fruits of those activities.
Hare Krishna.
Is that okay?
Prabhu, yes, sorry.
Yes, Prabhuji, that was fine. Thank you.
Yeah. Prabhu, I think you're pointing to elevated souls and like Brahmana qualities, aren't you? Because I go out to do book distribution, I can't help but feel deflated, and also a sort of if you have a super sale, you kind of elevated in your mood, so you can't help but feel that, so how can you be at that level where you are both good and bad in one place, and the spiritual soul can accept both at the same level and still come away feeling that you're doing good service?
That's a very nice question. Thank you so much. And let me give you a straightforward answer. Even your failure is a success. And I'll tell you why. Think with me, okay? Let's ask ourselves a question. What kind of qualities you can develop out of being seemingly a failure, okay?
Determination.
Determination, that's the first. Perfect. Give me another one.
Determination, patience.
Patience, perfect.
Enthusiasm.
Enthusiasm, wonderful. Can you do one more?
Enthusiasm, I
Humility.
think. Did I say persevere?
Perseverance, yes.
Yeah.
Another
one? There's 4, isn't there? I think.
What about humility?
Humility, yeah. You got to have humility. Well, that's hard to achieve, isn't it?
Yes. So
very. I mean, look at your first outing in the freezing cold, not prepared. I think you got to be prepared, as you say. Not when you get out there, then you ask Krishna and Prabhupada to help you, to ask them before you start, isn't it?
yes, and I can tell you the other part of the story.
Okay.
But just to wrap up on your question, all these qualities which we just named, humility, perseverance, tolerance, endeavor. These activities come from failing, you know,
Yes.
come from you seemingly being a failure. And trust me, these qualities are very, very difficult to obtain. Just like a diamond is made under pressure, a devotee or devotional qualities are also sometimes they come under pressure. So don't you think for a while that even you being seemingly unsuccessful, you're not gaining anything. You're actually gaining the most subtle, the most hard to achieve qualities of a Vaishnava. So even rejection is actually great victory. And it's sad. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. And to tell you other part of my story. So I was going like this for 3 days, and the third day I was just like, I was full of anger. I was angry with Krishna. I was like, Krishna, I do this for you. I come here every day and I'm flipping cold. I'm cold and I'm not ready for this, but I'm here and I'm doing this for you. And what do? You're not even helping me. And I was like angry like anything. Maharaj came to me. I was like, Maharaj, I'm done. I'm done. I look at my phone and I was booking tickets to go from North, what was it? Not Nottingham, Sheffield, to go back to the manor. I was like, I'm done with this. I don't want to touch any book anytime. No, I'm done. But then what happened is, as I was walking back to the flat where we used to stay, completely in the mood of, literally angry with Krishna. Then what happened? There was three of our brahmacharis from the manor. Back then it was Nishinganam, Baladev Charan, and Shesha. And out of the blue, they just appeared there in Sheffield. I was like, guys, what do you guys do here? He said, what do you do here? So we haven't cooperated, we haven't even changed, exchanged anything. They just appeared there. And they saw that how low I was. They embraced me like brothers. We had a good time. We took prasadam together. We had a discussion, and I stayed, and I saw that actually what Krishna did is he pushed me to the limit. He pushed me to the edge, literally to the edge. And I was like, Krishna, I'm done with you. And then what happened is I was just about to jump. Exactly what I needed. I needed association of my people, of the same age brahmacharis. And then when Maharaj came to me, it was 4 hours later. Say, okay, Adam, we're going back. I was like, no, Maharaj, I'm staying. It's fine. I'm okay. So Krishna, and that me calling for Krishna, like I was really almost like very, very upset with Krishna as a person. But that personal touch to it, and Krishna reciprocated with me. And that was first miracle I ever witnessed on book distribution. And after that, when I met them there on that spot at that time, I knew that Krishna is real, and I knew that Krishna listens. That was my first book distribution miracle. And then many other happened. And I think that Krishna specifically reciprocates with book distributors. And the reason is because Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, for those who share this knowledge about myself, they are the most dearest to me. To those to get out of the way to give Krishna consciousness to others, they're very, very dear to me. And that's the whole mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And also, you said about reading. You can be reading and reading and reading and don't understand it. How useful is that? How does it count for your mood and everything?
Of course. When Prabhupada was in India, his American disciples been sitting in in these pandals, and there were thousands upon thousands of Indian-bodied people, and Prabhupada was speaking in Hindi. And when the American and European boys and girls start leaving, Prabhupada looked at them and said, where are you going? Sit down. Like, Prabhupada, we don't understand. They said, I'm your guru and I'm speaking now. Doesn't matter if you don't understand. The samskaras, the imprints, the soul understands. So you sit down and listen, even if I speak in Hindi. So same thing with books. Doesn't matter if you don't understand, just keep on going. And I guarantee you, one point sooner or later, out of those 700 verses, you may start somehow understanding 1, 2, 3, 10, 15, 20, 30, 700. And even more verses will get revealed to you. I don't know. But what happens is that just keep on going, perseverance. Because Krishna doesn't reciprocate with that perseverance. Of course, reading is philosophy and purification. More important than that is application.
Mm.
So reading and application goes hand in hand.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Any other points, question? Anyone would like to share something? Don't be shy. Hare Krishna. Okay, so I think everything is clear.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
I've just joined in. I mean, I'm feeling the same as Jolly Mataji. Yes, I do read and I go chapter to chapter with the group. But sometimes I think, oh, you know, because sometimes if you miss some chapter, obviously I don't miss, but is a lot of it to go into your brain at this time of moment, as we have the COVID and everything, is so much going on around us, can't understand much. So how can I apply, like I do, the Mahamantra. I'm a very beginner at the moment, but I've been going to the temple for the last, I would say, 30 years, but I've just applied it recently in this year to read the Bhagavad Gita. So I find it a bit difficult to, sort of carry on now, So how do I give myself more sort of strength to carry on?
I completely fully understand what you're going through and what you mean. Sometimes, and this is our mentality, that if we don't see results,
Yes.
it's difficult for us to kind of progress or to keep going.
Yes.
The one thing in devotional life which is very, very, very important is faith.
Faith, yes.
Faith.
I do have full faith, Prabhuji, in Lord Krishna, Radhe Shyam.
I'm not saying that you don't have faith,
Yes.
in Krishna. The faith also means that I will go no matter what.
Yes.
We'll keep on, like for instance, in the time of initiation, we give a vow that I will chant 16 rounds every day, minimum. And this is not something which it's taken cheaply. It means that there will be days when you don't want to chant. There will be days where there will be no taste. There will be days where you have full day of service and you will finish 10 p.m. in the evening. And it's like you look at your beads, your
Yes.
Shakshimala. This is called Shakshimala, which means
Shakshimala, yes.
and on the witness mala will be 16 rounds on one end, saying that but you have to do it. You get to give a vow. So faith means that Prabhupada said that if you follow this process, you will go back to Godhead.
Yes.
And there will be obstacles, there will be challenges, there will be difficulties. It doesn't mean that we are brahmacharis or senior devotees. All of us, we have difficulties according to our state of consciousness. But one thing which we have to overcome is with association of devotees. So the faith comes from observing that the process functions on others, right? Look at devotees like, obviously, like Prabhupada's disciples. Look at our glorious parampara, on our glorious sampradaya, on our glorious spiritual teachers. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. I was just recently reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, the life of Narada Muni. Narada Muni, he was Moses. He was a Gandharva, but then he made an offense, and next life he was a Shudra. But he was serving great Vaishnavas, and next life he became Narada Muni. So there's
Yes.
a story kind of described there that gives us actually faith that we are from Shudra background. I'm from Shudra background. But what happens is by implying yourself in the process of Krishna consciousness, all of these conceptions will get away. And the faith will come, and determination will come. So faith is, I think, the most important part of our devotional life. Just keep on going. Don't listen to the mind. Just keep on going.
Yes, surely, Prabhuji, I do understand. But when you have mixed family relations, like, um, but I feel like carrying on into the bhakti, but I am trying my level best. Now talking to you, because when you speak about the basics and you're applying it to everyday life or, family life or things like that, I'm surely going to have more association and go and associate with the ladies, so that I can improve my bhakti.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have very, very advanced mothers in our wonderful movement. One from top of my head, Mother Guru Charana Padma Mataji, our temple president, Mother Vishaka,
Vishaka, yes.
many
Mother
others.
Vishaka is very good. And there was a great mother at the Watford temple. She used to make the barfi, which is the prasadam.
Mother Kalangana.
Yes, yes, yes. I used to meet her whenever I went on Sundays. All these things attracted me a lot to go to the temple. And then now as I'm progressing, I am having a little bit of prescription, the what you call, I don't know the word, when Lord Krishna accepts you little by little, you see, as a devotee.
So you see, these personalities which are attracted to us, which we feel attracted to, they are following the same process as we recommend to others. There's no that these devotees have some secret formula which we don't share with others.
Yes.
We say the first day someone enters the temple, we say the same thing as a two person who's highly elevated. So we say to him, chant Hare Krishna, read Prabhupada's books, associate with devotees, eat Krishna Prasadam, and that's it. And that's the same thing which the topmost elevated Vaishnava is doing. That's the first thing we ask a Bhakta or Bhaktin who comes to the temple, and the same thing that a highly elevated Vaishnava is doing. So there's no secret. You're always like an open book. So if you have someone in your life who you aspire to be like Mother Kalangana,
Yes,
doing the same thing. She was doing the same thing. So that's it.
so
That's,
I am very good at cooking, so surely
that's
I had
good.
a friend. Yes,
That's
I am
good.
very good at cooking, so I'm surely, when they allow me to come to the temple, I'm surely going to go and help out.
Yeah, cook for
Yes,
the Lord. That's very nice.
prasadam. Yes,
That's very good.
yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you.
We appreciate
Thank you, Prabhuji.
your points. We can do one last question, and then I will have to go to take a rest. And thank you very much for allowing me to be here and to somehow share something with you. Is there any last questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Michael?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I just want to ask you one thing. It's a funny question. That is there a easy formula to encourage someone who doesn't have faith on God? How do I do that?
That's a very nice question. If someone doesn't have a faith in God, how do you encourage him? Well, everything depends on time, place, and circumstances. You can figure out what that person has faith in. Like for instance, he definitely has to have a faith in something. Like when you travel in an airplane, you have to have faith in the company or in a pilot that he will take you from one country to another. That requires faith. You have to have faith in your banker that when you're going to put some money on your bank account, that they will actually end up in your bank account. So you have to have faith. So faith is actually always distributed. Always people have faith, but in different things. Sometimes, specifically in this day and age, people are learning many times the hard way. So for many, many lifetimes, we're putting faith in material nature, in material relationships, in material acquisitions, in material possessions. So that's where our faith lies in. And sometimes that faith to material things needs to be broken. So there's the new doors to kind of a faith for God are open. So it is interesting process, and you can be the holder, or you can present the faith of God. You can become Acharya means the one who leads with own example. Prabhupada was requesting all of us to become an example. So you can become an exemplary person, a wonderful Vaishnava, a first-class personality. And when that person, that other, which you may refer to, look at you and he says, well, you're a wonderful person. I like you very much. You have very nice qualities. I wish to be like you. So just like this, you're actually creating the faith of that other personality, just you by being exemplary. So that's what Prabhupada was doing. Many of those hippies, they've been atheists, they've been, sense gratifiers, but somehow or another, Prabhupada created a faith in them by being a first-class wonderful Vaishnava, by being a pure devotee. They feel attracted to him. And by being attracted to a Vaishnava, faith develops because Vaishnava follows the path of bhakti. Therefore, if someone puts a faith into a devotee, naturally, he puts faith in the path of bhakti. Does it make sense?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
So the best way to preach is to become an example. That's the best way.
Best way. Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Okay, the time is
Hare Krishna.
okay.
Thank
Last
you so
question.
much.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, there's more?
Is there any other one last question? Is there anyone else?
Well, there's a very difficult one, but I'll ask you next time.
Next time. Okay, I take that. Okay, so thank you so much. I very much appreciate our session.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
This-
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Antaranga
Krishna.
Prabhu